My wine.
I drink and I know things. That's what I do.
Welcome back to Flagons and Dragons. We're glad you could join us on our journey through Westeros. I'm Sir Jamie the Golden, Jamie G if you're nasty. I'm with my loyal traveling companions, the Soup Deucer, Lord of Kitchens, Protector of Palates, and Magna Mills, Master of Flagons, Lord of Taverns. On this episode, we're talking about the final trailer for House of the Dragon Season 3 and giving our hopes and predictions for the upcoming season. How you doing tonight, Soup? I trust that your fires are burning hot and your flagon is full.
Yeah, not rocking a flagon. I need to re-up and get myself a new flagon. Hopefully I will before the season premiere here so I can showcase it on our first episode. I'm looking into that now. So not working with the flagon, but it's in the works. And fires are always burning hot, man. Maybe not quite as hot as these dragons look like they're scorching things, but they are roasting pretty hard. So looking forward to this.
Probably not hard to get a well done steak cooked by dragon, but if you want to keep it on the rare side, I don't know if dragon fire is really the optimal way to go. So, I mean, maybe you can cool it down if you have an extra full flagon. You can just pour a little foam off onto the
I
top.
have I have yet to cook by dragon fire, so maybe one day I'll get the chance to give that a test and see how that works. But
Yeah, maybe we're getting there. I don't know if that'll be first or Jurassic Park will come first. I don't know if I'll get a dragon cooked food or get to go see a dragon in captivity first. That is the question. Those are the kind of questions we're asking here on Flagons and Dragons. Thank you very much for checking out our show. We are presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. You can find our podcast wherever you get your pods, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the good ones. We are there. Find our videos on YouTube. Find us on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff and on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it nice and easy to remember, just like the flaps, FLAPS. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had the fun, you must press the thumb.
And we're not the kind of dudes to fake the funk on a nasty dunk, but we are kind enough to warn you about upcoming spoilers. All episodes of House of the Dragon are fair game for discussion. There could be some spoilers from both Game of Thrones and A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms.
Don't say we didn't warn you. For the record, I am the only one who has read Fire and Blood. Going to try to avoid any major book spoilers. If we're going to get into anything that might be even on the medium side, we'll give you another heads up ahead of time. But I am the only one you have to worry about on that front. We've seen a couple of teasers already, so we've already talked about this a little bit. At Jamie G, you weren't here for the second teaser. You're here for the first one. What are you hoping for in this third season? You want a little bit more action. The first season was more about kind of the whole succession thing. Season two, we were promised, Fire and Blood. We got a little bit, we got a taste, but it kind of ended abruptly. What are you looking for season three? You want more of that scheming? You want some Fire and Blood? What are you looking for here?
Yeah, I think I'm looking for just moving this story along a little bit and giving us some meaningful, action and moments and having things that, chart the history and the course of the show without being able to turn back, right? I want death. I want massive fights. I want big life-changing, altering things for this universe, for this story, instead of just this incredible slow build. Like, yeah, it's cool to be edged every once in a while, but you got to deliver too, right? So give it to us, make this thing go, and I just hope ultimately for a great, well-written, well-executed show, which I'm sure it will be. It'll look great. It always does. But let's move this story along a little bit here.
Yeah, I don't know if we need another 4 or 5 secret meetings between Rhaenyra and Alicent where they kind of trod the same ground again and again. I would like to move the story forward. Soup, we've talked about this a little bit. Like, how much complexity are you looking for here? Are you okay if everything's pretty much straightforward? Or do you want there to kind of be some backstabbing and betrayals and kind of a couple of twists that surprise you? Or are you okay if it's more of a just kind of straightforward, war and battle type of story?
Probably be okay either way, but I think it's more interesting. And the way that, I mean, given the history of the show and and Game of Thrones and whatnot, it seems like there almost has to be some betrayal and backstabbing and deception and all that. So as long as it doesn't get too out of hand, where the main plot of if it doesn't take over everything, because the expectations for the season are going to be a little bit more action packed. At least that's what it looks like. I think that's what most people want. It's definitely what I'm looking for. But without without a little bit of some web weaving in there, none of that other stuff will make sense anyway. So I think it kind of is necessary to have a little bit of that deception.
Yeah, I mean, if you have people who are, master of whispers, you kind of want to use them a little bit. So I do think that they should be able to balance both elements, but they really haven't quite pulled that off yet in a season. So kind of hoping they can do so here. Do either of y'all have any concerns that if you're not somebody who's been able to rewatch the series again, the second season aired almost 2 years ago? JBG, do you have any concerns about being able to pick this one up pretty easily? It looks like HBO Max is going to put out a couple of recaps here, about 10, 15 minutes. Do you think that's enough to get you back into it? Or are you a little bit worried that they're going to have to hold our hands early in the season to kind of remind us where everyone's at?
Yeah, I mean it's just been a lot. There's been a long time. There's been a lot of other shit that I've watched and things that I've gotten into. That's the problem with living in this new world of like it takes 2 to 3 years to put out a show. And we talk about that all the time. I absolutely hate that. I despise it. I want somebody to like break that route and just be like, no, we're putting a show out every year, no matter how much CGI there is, no matter what actors and actresses are doing, this is what we're doing. And when somebody does that, it's going to force everyone else to have to play by that rule too. But I will get off my soapbox. Mills, I am a little bit worried. There's a lot of characters that look really similar and also have similar names. I kind of want to, it's going to take me just a smidge to go back. I'm sure they'll do a good job with these extensive recaps. That's the world we're living in now where you kind of got to rely on that. But I hope it doesn't mean that we're going to get delayed on, a couple of big things. It's going to take an episode or two to kind of warm into having the big one here. So we'll see. A little bit concerned, but not overly.
Well, the only good news is that it does sound like they're going to really try to keep A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms moving on a 1 year release schedule. So we might actually get that right at the beginning of 2027, about a year after that premiered. Soup, do you feel kind of the same way here that it might be a little tough to jump right back in here if you haven't rewatched these recently, given both the length of time between seasons and the number of characters we have who, like Jamie, you mentioned, have, a lot of them have silver hair and similar names?
Yeah, I mean, the show's very complex and there's a lot going on. There's a lot of side stories. There's a lot of, a lot of characters, man. And it's been it's been a couple of years. I don't really have so much of a problem. Once I get back into a show, I kind of catch on pretty quick and remember it. And, I'm right back into that vibe. A quick recap before, I'm not going to be able to watch 2 seasons of this shit before the next one comes out. But I think just a little bit is enough for me. And, obviously there'll be some things I'd forgotten or whatever. But for me, generally, when I get back into a show like this, I'm right there as soon as it happens, and I don't think they need an episode or two to lube me up, I mean, I'll go ahead and just ram it in first episode. That's what I'm hoping for.
Half a flagon and you're good to go. Just
Yeah.
just drop a couple of copper pennies on the soup. He is a cheap date, and you're probably not wrong in that. Like, you probably don't need to remember all the backstory and names of the new dragon riders. You just need to know, oh yeah, they ride dragons and they work for Rhaenyra. Kind of. That's probably enough to get you started.
For me, like when I see these characters again, even if I had forgotten about them, oh yeah, then I remember because they're on there now. So, I don't know.
I mean, how can you forget Hugh the Hammer? I mean, that's just such a fantastic name.
Great
Unless
name.
it's also, a dude who's in like, porn that you watch or something like that. You probably, or maybe he has a, a reality show where he fixes houses. There's a lot of overlap between what Hugh the Hammer can do for you.
Sure.
And we've said it already, but this is it. This is season 3. There will be 4 total seasons. So this is the penultimate season. Premiere is dropping Sunday, June 21st. So 8 episodes in this season. Sounds like there's going to be 8 in season 4. So only 16 episodes of the show remaining. It looks like Lonnie Penrister is going to be directing the season premiere. Showrunner Ryan Condal is getting the written by credit. The last time we got this director was the penultimate episode of season 2, The Red Sowing. That's where we got the dragon riders claiming they're dragons. That was a very good episode. And the last time Ron Condal got it written by credit, that was the Red Dragon and the Gold. That was the big fight at Rook's Rest. Like, probably the best episode of the show to date. So a lot of promise between this pair teaming up for the season premiere. As far as new cast members, we have James Norton as Ormond Hightower, Tommy Flanagan as Roderick Dustin, Dan Fogler as Torrin Manderley, Tom Cullen as Luther Largent, Joplin Sibtain as John Roxton, Barry Sloan as Adrian Redford, and Ann Shapiro as Allison Blackwood. I think we're pretty well set up here. We're going to play a clip from this final trailer, and we're going to break it down, give our predictions and hopes for season 3.
come so far, and yet you still don't know who you are.
Honestly, it looks like they could end the series this season with that trailer.
Well, if you think about it, there hasn't been that much conflict
No.
in the first two seasons, and the whole idea of this is the Targaryen civil war. But I think this is the expectation they're setting up here, right, Soup? I mean, this looks like fire and blood, right? It's going to be disappointing if this is like, all the dragon action we see. It's all in like the first episode. We don't get any. I feel like they're promising us like sustained conflict throughout the season, right?
It looks like it, dude. And I mean, judging from what I see here, it looks like it's going to be, it's still going to be building towards things, but there's going to be a lot of action. There's got to be because like where, I mean, otherwise that trailer, doesn't make any sense. So, so there's gonna be drama too, and there's gonna be a lot of a lot of character, but I don't want to say development because most of them are already developed, like interactions and
Machinations, maybe a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit of
yeah.
the kind of.
So, but it looks like it's gonna be awesome, dude. This is hopefully gonna be the best season yet because the past two kind of have just been building towards this. Um, and
Right. I think that was season two felt like, especially the way it ended, a little bit like edging, like you never quite really got to the climax of the season, so to speak.
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I like this, and it also looks like there could be a couple of new characters in there that could have big roles. And you're starting to see kind of the chess pieces move on each side here towards, trying to secure the throne, right? And that's ultimately what this is. So really excited about it. Again, I have no doubt that it's going to look great, sound great. The actors and actresses are just top notch, man. I'm pretty fired up after watching that.
a lot of dragons in the trailer, so there's going to be a lot
A
of
lot of
dragons in the
dragons.
show, and everybody wants to drag. I mean, that's what House of Dragon,
It's
dude.
what we
Wants
have
to
to
be a
wait
dragon.
2 years for. I mean, it's in the title, and I think that makes a lot of sense because, again, this is not really a spoiler. The showrunners have talked about it. The second season wound up being truncated, so more or less, the season three premiere is going to feel almost like a season finale. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of the footage we are seeing is from what book readers will know as the Battle of the Gullet. It won't really matter too much if you don't really read the books to know exactly what that is, but more or less, it just means like we are going to get at least one big battle early on. I don't think that's much of a spoiler. Jamie G mentioned we get some new characters. The Hightower army is going to be a thing. We're going to get Ormond Hightower. We're going to get Daron, his dragon Tessian. That is the youngest son of Alicent, like the dude who was away at Old Town. Like they were kind of talking about him at the end of season two, maybe bringing him on because his dragon was old enough to get into the battle now. So that's kind of where they're coming with that. And we also see the Winter Wolves. Jamie G, they were setting this up basically at the beginning of season two when Jacaerys went north to the Wall.
Yeah.
We met Greg and Stark, and we had a little bit of that. He's going to send the Winter Wolves, kind of some of these very old, kind of battle-hardened warriors that he could spare. It seems like we're going to get them in the mix here. How big of an impact do you think the North is going to have here? We have a Manderley as a new character here. So again, another one of the Northern Lords. Do you expect the armies of the North to play a bigger role here?
I do. And I think that's going to be kind of cool to kind of bring in some of the Game of Thrones history, not to redo anything or resurface or kind of like, cop off of that. But I do think it'll be cool to kind of expand Westeros here a little bit and get up north. I like when this show does it because it's cool to see what these places we got so familiar with and loved in Game of Thrones were like during this time frame. What was the world like, right? So I think that's kind of a big part here too, because that will make this show feel a little bit bigger. It's kind of condensed, right, between like, you know,
A lot of Dragonstone and King's Landing, basically, for the first two
basically it,
seasons.
so it's cool to kind of get out a little bit, I think, from
Right, you'd
that.
have the Stepstones. I mean, you're going to get a lot more of the Riverlands this season. The Riverlands are definitely going to be a thing. You're going to spend more time at the area, I think. But there's certainly going to be a lot of, Driftmark, Dragonstone, King's Landing. But you are going to get some sea battles, it looks like. I think that's
Yeah.
something we've all been looking forward to. The Sea Snake not only has a legendary nickname, he is maybe the greatest sailor in the history of Westeros. So you really kind of want to see like why he is supposed to be such a badass. And then
Yeah.
in the trailer here, it seems pretty obvious that it looks like Rhaenyra is retaking King's Landing again. If you remember at the end of season two, she kind of cut a deal with Alicent so she could take King's Landing without bloodshed. Again, that's one of those things. If you haven't rewatched or yet didn't catch the recap recently, might slip past your mind. But it looks like the people aren't ready to accept her. So do you like the idea maybe that Rhaenyra is going to take King's Landing without a lot of bloodshed, but it might be more complex than that in the long run?
It's definitely going to be more complex than that, man. Nothing's going to be that easy, dude. If it wouldn't be, it wouldn't really be a show of its caliber if it was, you know. So,
True.
But it makes sense that the small folk might not accept her. She tried to grease the wheels a little bit. Remember, she sent over the boats of food in season two, so
Yes.
that kind of
Yep.
brought more people over to her side. So Mysaria has been working some angles here, but there is no guarantee that people will accept her, especially because she's coming in right now. There's a blockade. These people are starving. These people are hungry. So you know how it is, man. If new politicians get in office, they got about 10 minutes to fix everything. If you haven't fixed it in 10 minutes, people are going to start getting mad again. So I think there is probably going to be a certain level of that. And if we only have 16 episodes of the show left, kind of what are you looking for this season, Jamie G? Do you want like a real kind of definitive end of the season? Are you okay if it feels like the first half of a two-parter? You know, how much kind of room do you want to leave for a denouement? Do you want the big battle to be in the final episode? Like, how are you kind of looking for the pacing of the final 16 episodes to go down?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think we need a couple of big battles here, but I don't want to blow the wad too quick. We do have, a whole nother season here. I'm looking for, while that's happening and the chess pieces are moving and we're getting some resolution and, blows are struck and maybe some of them you can't undo. I also am looking forward to kind of expanding this story and moving it so that it sets up really good for next season too. And I just, hoping for like an incredible opener, a really good build, a phenomenal penultimate, and then a dust settler kind of heading into the final season.
What do you think, Stoop? You're looking for kind of a season maybe that ends in a big cliffhanger or something that's maybe a little bit more self-contained?
man, I mean, you almost want a bit of a cliffhanger because it keeps you looking forward to that. But we're gonna have to wait another 2 years, probably, you know. So
Yeah.
Bad news, you got to wait 2 years. Good news, you do know it will be the final season. So theoretically, they shouldn't be leaving anything on the table.
yeah, and knowing that there's going to be another season and it'll be the final season, then I think that season will have more expectations than this one, and the expectations for this one are pretty high. But this show can do it, you know. I mean, if they play it the right way and do what
Gives them more
I
room for a
expect,
cliffhanger, I think.
I think
You know
so
what I mean?
too,
Because
man.
you
You
know it's
know.
going into the last season. As long as they put out a good season three, I think the cliffhanger might be the good way to go in terms of at least getting people talking about it and then getting people again excited 2 years from now. God knows what the world's going to look like, how much content's going to come out between now and then to get them excited again. The resolution of that cliffhanger maybe be a good hook.
I think so. Yeah, you got a good point there, man.
What do you think, Jamie G? You think they'll go with a cliffhanger ending or something a little bit quieter?
No, I mean, I think it's probably a good call on the cliff. Just because, like you said, you're gonna have to. I mean, we're talking 2030 before, like
2028,
2030, dude.
2028.
I mean, 2028 by the time it's done. Okay, so still
Not
though.
4 years. If it's 4 years, we're gonna have to have a conversation about
Yeah, but
that.
even still, 2028. Think about all the craziness that could happen between. I think we're like 6 months away from an alien invasion. So I mean, like,
We'll get an entire season of Severance between now and then.
right.
It's not just them. That's what I. It's
All
not
jokes
just them.
aside, I do think that setting up with a cliffhanger, getting that hook in you, getting, so it's easier to bring back the excitement level when they roll out that final season.
Soup, who do you think is going to be the superior whisperer here? You have Mysaria, you have the clubfoot, Larry Strong. He's out there scheming with Aegon. Mysaria's with Rhaenyra. Like, I think this is kind of like having a good scouting department or assistant coach or something like that. Like, who do you think's got the bigger edge here when it comes to the whisperers?
Is Damon included in that?
Well, I mean, he is, he probably has a closer relationship with Miss Area. I mean, she's probably more scared of him. Like, I don't think she could play him as easily as I think Larys could play Aegon for what it's worth.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, diving a little bit deeper than that, man. I don't know. Honestly, right now, I would have to get into like the first half of one episode to, really make a judgment there, you know.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Jamie G, any preference here from our foot guy or the White Widow, White Worm?
Yeah, I honestly, I think the foot guy is gonna like be leading and look to be clearly dominant, and then our white worm is gonna come out when it's all said and done and make her move, man, and regain the spot as the top whisperer.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we're talking about a TV show or the Belmont because those sound like they could be horse names too. For what it's worth, this day and age, that's very fun. It's not quite as cool as micro beer names, but horse names also a very good time. How about Aegon 2? Do you think it's more likely we're going to have a conflict between the brothers, between Aegon and Aemond, or it's going to be Aemond and Daemon? Jamie G, all these names sound the same, but do you think our guy with the eye patch, you think he's going to wind up going against his brother in the main conflict through the season, or do you think he's finally going to have the big showdown with Daemon?
I don't know that the big showdown with, I think when that big showdown with Damon happens, one or both die. So I just don't know that we're there yet. So I'm gonna probably push that to next season. So, but I do think he'll do some sinister shit, and probably do it in a cheap manner to make you hate him even more.
They're changing things up from the book as far as this plot with Aegon. Him and Aemond are generally simpatico in the books, and it's not really ever even implied that Aemond tried to take Aegon out at the battle like we saw in the show. So this is something that they're changing. And again, Fire and Blood is written as a subjective history account. It's not definitive. It's all written by maesters, sometimes even 100 years after the fact. So it's based on stories and hearsay. So theoretically, the events of the show are what are technically canon, but I don't expect them to make major changes to the book. But this is definitely a place where they have some flexibility to do so. So I'm very curious as to see where they go with this Aegon plot. What do you think, Jamie Cheetah? Or what do you think, Soup? Do you think it's more likely that Aegon is going to take his shot at Aemon this season, or it's going to maybe be in that big Aemon Daemon showdown?
You know what? I'll have to agree with the previous statement here. I think Aegon and Aemon are gonna be that'll happen before because it kind of says it in the first trailer. You know, I mean, let me make this a little bit easier with the names. Burned up brother
An
is
eye patch.
you know against
Eye
eye
patch
patch
chin.
brother. So burned up brother. He basically said he's gonna kill him. You know, so I do think that that's gonna at least be touchdown, if not resolved this season, you know, and it's probably going to be a big deal when it does happen. Now, it might be a little bit of teasing here and there along the way, but I do think it'll be a situation during the season here.
Well, when you release multiple teasers, you expect there to be some teasing along the way. And I have to say, shout out Eamon. Almost nobody's done it better with losing an eye because he looks good with the eye patch. And then Sans eye patch, he has the sapphire in his eye, which gives it that cool glint. So, I mean, he's really working it either way. He's a really kind of
Some people can
embraced,
rock a fucking eye patch, man. And you know what? I'm thinking of some, all right, but regardless of an eye patch, Glass Eye Man, the dude from Last Action Hero, rock the fuck
Why
out of it.
Benedict, who is Charles Dance, who is Tywin Lannister.
Oh shit.
So
Damn.
yeah, bringing it all back
Small
around. So
world.
we
Wow.
know in this world we have one of the best people. Yeah, that's a very fun runner in Last Action Hero. How he has this. I always like the one with the little bullseye in it, the kind of the target or whatever.
I mean, if I had to rock a glass eye, and I hope, fingers crossed, I never do, but if I did, I would have to have that. I would want to have
I'd
that
want
kind
a
of glass,
selection.
you know,
Yes, I think I would
yeah.
want a selection. I think that's definitely the way to go. But I also, it doesn't hurt to look good in an eye patch. You know, I mean, not everyone can be
Not
Captain
everybody
Ron,
can
but you got
rock
to
an
do
eye
what you got to
patch,
do.
you know what I mean? But if you got that pirate look or that badass, like, some people can rock an eye patch, like Snake Plissken can rock a fucking eye patch.
It might just be Kurt Russell. I mean,
Maybe
that
it
might
will.
it might just be Kurt Russell is especially good. Do you have one in? Do you have one in Hateful Eight too? Like I feel like Kurt Russell. Any keys to put him in an eye patch?
I don't think he
And
had the eye
Jamie
patch. He
G.
was in it, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'll just I'm trying to put him in an eye patch and everything we can now. And Jamie G. We talked about it. One of our favorite episodes in season 2 was when we had the new Dragon Riders claim their new mounts. How much of an
Yeah.
impact do you want them to have this season? Are you looking for them to kind of have a more major role, or do you look at them just kind of be like supporting artillery for Rhaenyra and her army?
Yeah, I would love for them to have a role. They were fun characters. That was a really fun episode. They had great names. You mentioned too, the Hammer, and several others.
Ulf.
Other Ulf, the
Yeah,
bunch of
that was the
good
drunk
people.
guy, Ulf. Ulf the White. He's very fun too.
I don't know unless there's a like full blown, like all hands on deck battle. I don't know that we're gonna see a ton of them in like the big battle yet.
Right, we
But I
see
would like
four
to see them
flying into
used.
King's Landing in the trailer, so it does look like, I'm pretty sure it's four on Team Black. Perhaps there could be one on the Greens defending the city, but that's not definitive. Soup, any thoughts on the new Dragon Riders here? Do you think they're going to do what Rhaenyra says too? I mean, are they maybe going to get a little drunk with power? They've got up jump for quite a bit. We saw that in the one scene where they're like, "Oh shit! Like we can eat whatever we want now. We can drink whatever we want. We got dragons. Is there any chance they start feeling maybe a little bit too big for their britches?"
I mean, that's always a possibility, man. But I don't, maybe I'd hate to see that because I think it would take away from I mean, it would just be kind of like a distraction, really, But if it makes sense, then yeah, because some people won't be able to handle that kind of power, and it might make sense to kind of lean into that a little bit and showcase that, this isn't for everybody, even if you think it is, or even if you can, even
Heavy
if
is the
you have the
crown.
capability to ride a fucking dragon and they allow you to ride them, maybe you're still not for you. I mean, it's a lot of, I mean,
You
that's
gotta feel a little bit like the chosen one or something like that, right? Though, I mean, because think about how many people died trying to claim those dragons, and you were able, to get there. It was literally like trial by fire. So
Yeah.
I'm very excited again. There's only so much I can say because I have read Fire and Blood, but I will say overall, this trailer did its job. It got me very excited. I had a couple of issues about again how season 2 ended. I know a lot of it's logistic. It's stuff that has nothing to do with the show itself. It was beyond their control. Didn't quite end the way I was looking for, but it based on this trailer, the fact that we know that they have this season, they have another season after it, that's that. Especially given again how Night of the Seven Kingdoms was done so well. I have a lot of confidence about Westeros going forward, so I'm feeling really, really good about this. I'm putting about as many flagons on the wall as I can for it. How about you, Soup? How hype are you for this one? Are you giving it, just about all your flagons? I'm not even going to make you put a number on it, but are you hoisting them pretty high for this upcoming season? Are you really like genuinely excited about it now? More so than you were, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like after seeing, the trailer, which I'm hoping to forget most of, but they didn't give a lot away, which is good. They showed you that there's going to be some shit's going to go down, and that's awesome. So yeah, I'm super hyped about this one, man. Like I said, it's what we've been waiting for a couple of seasons and a couple of years now between the last season to get here. So yeah, super stoked about it, super hyped for it, and I'm ready to get into Westeros, man.
How about you, Jamie G? How hype are you? How high are you hoisting them flagons? You buying around for the whole bar? Like how good are you feeling here?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm double fisting, and I think I'm to the ceiling here, man. I think I'm singing a song, doing a jig, and chugging. So I'm pretty pumped.
Oh, it's city special, dude. Shot in a beer. City special, dude. Nice and excited. I think that's how you go. At least when you're living in Westeros, down on Flea Bottom. So that's pretty much the deal. I think this is pretty much it. The next time you hear from us, we will be talking about the season premiere. It sounds like it's going to be a great time. Hopefully, you've had a great time checking out this episode of Flagons and Dragons. Greatly appreciate you joining us on our journey through Westeros. Show is presented by Regular Dudes Watch Stuff. Find our podcast wherever you get your pods. Find our videos on YouTube. Find us on social media at Dudes Watch Stuff, on the web at dudeswatchstuff.com. Try to keep it nice and easy to remember, just like those flaps, FLAPS. Very crucial to our success. Follow, like, and please subscribe. If you had Mr. Fun, please press Mr. Thumb. I'm Megan Mills. He's Jamie G. That's Soup Deucer. Thanks again for checking out the show.
Till next time, keep your flagons full and your dragons hot.
Just need you to name an animal
Yeah,
that we eat but doesn't eat us.
doesn't eat us. That's easy. A dragon?
Charlie, do you eat dragon?
No, I don't eat dragon because it's not a meal for peasants. It's a meal for kings, and I'm sort of a common man. But they don't eat us. It's a misconception. They actually eat gold and treasure. That's why they're always sitting on a big pile.
Side by side, we wait the might of the darkest dawn.